So, you want to know how to make a dirty, disgusting Predicta tandem umbilical cable look like new. Here's how you do it. Get yourself a can of this stuff and a bunch of paper towels. Wet the paper towels and wipe. Okay, camera battery died on me mid-sentence. So, you use Goof Off to clean up the cable. You can also use it on the connector. Someone splattered red paint on this, which it'll also looks like it's getting rid of pretty decently. And to show that it works on even the toughest portion, let's go after the worst part of the cable, dirt-wise, that I can see without unrolling the whole thing. So yeah, that works pretty good. Now this cable's about 26 feet long, if I recall correctly, the cable on my first set that I measured before, so this is a very long process scrubbing it down with Goof Off and paper towels. This will probably take somewhere between 1 to 3 hours, depending on how dirty and stubborn the dirt on your cable is. While you're scrubbing the cable down, if you encounter streaks of dirt that are especially stubborn, scratch them with your nail as you're dragging the cleaning pad across, and that'll help break them up faster and better. Scratches into the actual jacket that are filled with dirt, you can only do so much to clean. There's a few on the edge right here that you might be able to see. Those we can make a little bit better, but they're still going to be there. You can't put back material that's missing. So I'm going to spend some time, a few hours, and clean up this whole long cable, and probably cut back in when I'm done with the process so you can see the finished cable on my one lone gold base head shell. Of the 4 sets I have, 3 of them have this mahogany base here. This is the only one I've got with the gold base. It's also the only one with the white plug on the cable end. All of the mahogany bases have brown plugs. Just some interesting production change or variant notes there. Okay, we'll come back after we're cleaned. Okay, it's the next day and the cable's done. I got it pretty clean. It's not going to be perfect. There's always going to be little scratches and bits of wear on the edges because these cables often got used, put underneath rugs, left in crevices behind bookcases to get dirty for decades, walked on, stepped on. As long as there's no cuts that penetrate through the tan insulation into the colored insulation of the wires underneath, the original cables are still perfectly safe. Yeah, there's 15,000 volts traveling down the main cable, but it's traveling inside of a coax with a grounded shield. So if one cuts through this cable into the high voltage cable, it's more likely that the high voltage will arc out to the shield of the high voltage cable coax that's grounded from the center conductor that's inside the grounded conductor than it is for you to get direct connection to the electrical. Same with the horizontal circuit. That also has pretty good shielding. So really, as long as you don't cut deep enough that you start getting the colored insulation of the inner conductors, the original cables are fine with light surface damage, or even moderate surface damage, really. Just as long as it doesn't get through the outer protective surface of the cable.
If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing.
Okay, so I've got my 2 selling sets assembled and my 1 keeper set assembled, and right here is my junker cabinet and my parts chassis. And there's one process I didn't show you that I've done on all 3 of the good sets that is good to know for doing these, and really for all Predictas. How to fix the push on-off switch. So here we have one. It's the center shaft here for the on-off volume. Outer shaft is contrast. We're just gonna yoink the screws off of it for a minute. And also this here little clip. Get off of there. Okay, there we go. Clip deleted. So this chassis doesn't have its picture tube plugged in, so that safety interlock should guarantee that there's no continuity across the switch unless, of course, the switch is working. So let's take our workhorse multimeter and put it into continuity mode and connect it across the switch and see if the switch is any good, because, oh, wow, this one's actually not bad. It's got a few mega ohms open. That's no big deal. I'll be a monkey's uncle. One of the two fingers to hold the knob's broken, but the switch itself is still okay. Whoa. And I just shifted my entire audience. Well, I'll still give you a 50-cent tour of how you fix up the power switch. There's 3 fingers around this plastic body on the back here, the plastic body being the switch mechanism. Now you want to use a much finer screwdriver than one I'm using. Matter of fact, do I have one on the bench? That's Phillips. There we go. Okay, so one finer screwdriver, and we bend the fingers out of the way a little bit so that we can pull this out of here. And inside there are 2 contact patches. This one, they're greased up pretty nicely. And there's this little guy, which is the electrical contact that bridges those 2 contacts. And we also have this fancy little mechanism here. What happens is the control pushes on this, and the spring vanished. Oh wait, no it didn't. Here it is. Wonderful. Okay, it probably is best to show it assembled like this. The control shaft doesn't push on this center shaft so much as it pushes on this flat plate, which slides within grooves inside the plastic body. When the metal plate slides down, it pushes on the spring, of course, and it engages with the spiral portion of this shaft. And in the course of doing that, if it would kindly cooperate with you, in the course of doing that, it causes, as it pushes in, this little cross-shaped insulator to twist. When it twists, it engages these two little catches here and here, and twists this and sort of ratchets it against the little ramps that these 4 patches in here constitute, 2 of which are insulators and 2 of which are the terminals. And what you want to do when you rebuild one of these that's no longer working, when these fail, they fail open where it'll never turn on. What you do is you scrub these 2 pads really clean with fine grit sandpaper, like 600, 1000, something like that. Polish them up real good, get all the tarnish and burn marks off of the conductors. Do the same for the tips of the fingers, and if necessary, bend the fingers down more to give them better contact. But that has to be done judiciously in order to prevent damaging the contacts or making it so that one contacts but the other doesn't, which is a bad condition because both need to contact at once to close the circuit on the switch terminals. Once you've done all that and cleaned it out, put some control cleaner in there, like deoxid or what have you, and maybe a little bit of control lubrication. Reassemble this package. Cap the little contact finger on top of it, and just reassemble all that down in there and get the little bar unit into place as well. And then carefully reassemble the whole thing onto the back of the control, and if you've done all that correctly, it should give a nice low ohm resistance. And there's light on my multimeter face. You guys haven't been able to even see it this whole time. That's wonderful. So before I took it apart, it was working just the same. I wish I could have shown you a broken one. I expected this one to be broken like the other three I have. I may have to actually keep this one. This might be the best one I have among all of my sets. Well, it's my part set, so I probably will keep it in. Well, we'll see. We'll see what I do. Anyway.
Thanks for watching.